Pastiche, thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
I am so excited to have you here. You are a fantastic Irish musical artist.
Oh, thank you.
Just got confirmation from you that you're still unsigned, which I think is so silly. so silly. So that needs to be sorted out.
I agree. My bank account agrees.
So, what has life looked like for you in the past 6 months?
I got a lot has changed in the last 6 months. I moved home from London to Dublin. I was in London for 2 years, doing music and stuff, which was so much fun. But I was diagnosed with endometriosis back in November, and yeah,
That's not amazing. I was going to say that's amazing.
Yeah,
it's amazing that you got diagnosed.
I've been like 10 years without a diagnosis. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
That 10-year statistic is so on point.
Yeah, it's
I've never
crazy.
heard of a woman get diagnosed less than 10 years.
No, it's crazy. I went to a meetup on the weekend where it was just like a girl who she's a page called The Endo in Me.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, everyone who was like either endo or suspected endo will all meet up and we'll go for a walk and chat. And I met so many girls with endo or suspected endo or adeno or PCOS, whatever. And the stories of the similarities are frightening. Like, people were telling their stories and I was just like, this is literally my story. Like, it's crazy. But
could you not believe that there were so many women who you had all been suffering with the same thing, but none of you knew?
Absolutely, yeah. Like, we all had, you'd always think how people get diagnosed with things, it's all very different per person. And it's just crazy that everyone has such a universal experience of going to the doctor, being completely fobbed off, ending up in A&E, being told to take 2 paracetamol and a Buscopan because there's nothing wrong with you, being told there's nothing showing up on your scans or in your bloods, until you're literally banging on people's doors because you think you're mentally insane because you're in so much pain and no one can explain. I got that rhymed pretty well. But so through my endo diagnosis, I was kind of flying back and forth from Dublin to London because, again, I wasn't being taken seriously by the NHS. I wasn't being taken seriously here. I was very lucky that I was able to go private here and within 4 weeks have surgery.
What?
Yeah, and they diagnosed me, and then I kind of was like, okay, I now have this because they can only diagnose you through surgery.
Okay,
it's the only way to be diagnosed. Some places can diagnose on MRI and stuff.
I'm just gonna do a bit of threading.
Do your thing.
We're gonna pray to the gods that it just doesn't hurt too much.
No, it's not too bad.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Top of the brow is always fine.
Yeah, that's fine. So I was kind of coming back and forth from Dublin to London, and then I got diagnosed with endo, and then I was told you have to freeze your eggs as well.
Wow.
So,
and you're 26.
I'm 26, and
that is not something I've even contemplated. I've only heard of people freezing their eggs in movies. It's now with endometriosis becoming more and more prevalent. I have heard of but before that,
No, I mean, because I thought I was kind of you go into the surgery and you don't know if they're going to find anything, and I was kind of obviously in a weird way hoping they would find something.
Yeah,
but I didn't expect it to be so bad. I suppose I was diagnosed stage 4, which is the most severe. And then I was kind of like, okay, well, you've treated it, and then I learned that but it's actually a chronic illness that never actually goes away. It progresses your entire life. So most people have multiple surgeries throughout their life before they end up getting a hysterectomy. And then I was then told, and then we're going to need to freeze your eggs.
Wow.
And I was just like, whoa. So the past 6 months, I went through 2 rounds of egg freezing on top of moving back to Dublin, releasing music, trying to write music, trying to gig,
So it's been a long 6 months.
It has. I think it's so hard, especially because when you're a musician, especially when you're unsigned, everything is down to you.
Yeah.
It's so down to you to make everything work. And I think it's going through something as intense as egg freezing while trying to release because I make fun pop music.
Yeah,
it's such a juxtaposition of what you're going through.
Yeah, because I can imagine the pressure of you're trying to make a living from something that you love. You're going through a massively hard time in your life.
Yeah,
and how you make a living is you make upbeat pop music, but I'm sure you felt like singing anything but upbeat.
Yeah, and for me it was for me, the music I've been working on in the past two singles, Dizzy and Forward Control, that I've released this year, have been such like escapism tracks. So like Forfeit Control is about literally my diagnosis in a really weird way. It's like me giving up control to the universe, because it's kind of like, I didn't think my life would end in this direction. Like I didn't think I'd end up, freezing my eggs at 26. I didn't think I'd end up having to move home from London to pay for it,
Yeah.
So it's kind of like learning that, okay, no matter what happens, the universe is going to do its thing, and you sometimes just have to roll with the punches,
And what's life like now coming out of, the first half of the year? Has there been a big release, maybe internally, because you have a diagnosis now? Like I know you weren't crazy.
Yeah. Oh my God. Because I really thought I was crazy for a bit.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think if anything, it's made, like, the diagnosis specifically has made me be kinder to myself.
Yeah.
Because I would be going through all these horrible things. Like endo is not just pain. It's, it's heavy periods, it's acne, it's, weight gain, it's fatigue. Oh my God, the chronic fatigue is insane.
Yeah.
It's painful periods, it's hormone issues, it's like sciatica in your legs, it's nerve, like it's such a full body disease, and I think it's made me realize, okay, like, no, I can be like, hey, like I can go show to rehearsal and be like, hi guys, I'm actually going to sit today because I'm feeling really fatigued.
Yeah.
And I know why, because I have endo, that kind of way.
Yeah.
Or the same thing with like, when I go to the doctor and I say, hi, yeah, I need painkillers. They actually take me seriously and they actually give me the painkillers I need because I have a diagnosis now. And I think as well, it's made me understand the workload that I can take on and the toll it takes on my body.
Yeah. And it's not you being lazy or that you're not able for it.
It just made me so much more in tune with, okay, this is just my situation. It's crazy because when I was, before I was diagnosed, my symptoms got worse when I came off the pill.
Okay.
About probably in like May of 2022.
Yeah.
And before that, I was just a girl like grinding, constantly gigging, always in town, bus club, another club, like that kind of. And I think also it's the same thing with like the music I've been making, like before for Control and Dizzy. There's songs where I'm kind of like mourning my youth in a way.
Yeah.
Because I'm just not that same person mentally or physically anymore.
And I feel like I can totally relate to that. And I feel like so many other girls around when
the
you're
mid-20s,
mid to late 20s, you're not like, I say it to people all the time, I'm like, I've really realised that, like, I'm not the girl who cares about being the skinniest girl in the room anymore or the prettiest girl in the room anymore.
Yeah.
And leave that to the early 20s. That's their problem now.
Absolutely.
And
because there is, at 25, there's a switch.
There's such a switch.
I don't know what the fuck happens. There's a switch. Like, it crazy. I was, I think as well, like, I was so, like, it's kind of weird because before 25, I was, like, so ballsy. And, like, would do anything. And now I'm definitely more, like, thinking of things too much.
More cautious of the world.
Yeah.
But I think that is what's great about
being protective of myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so interesting.
I know. But I am so, like, proud of you for sharing your story with endometriosis, because whenever I hear any woman sharing their story with endometriosis, I just know the amount of women that are going to hear that and feel so heard, and hopefully have the courage, if they are having those symptoms, to go forward and, get it checked out.
And I think that was the thing for me. It was like, I chose to share this and speak on this a lot, as much as I can, because one, I'm so passionate about it, but two, I had no one to talk to. Because my doctors weren't taking me seriously. Nothing was showing up in my scans or my bloods.
Yeah.
I thought it was insane. Like, most of the information I got was from Reddit. Like, really? Reddit was like my best friend, and I found a great community of people on Reddit. And I think it's just really important and especially like when I was told I had to freeze my eggs, it's not a very universal experience, freezing your eggs at 26, not because you can't get pregnant or you're trying IVF, but physically, like, to preserve your fertility, because you might not be able to have kids, and it's such a thing to have to face when you're, again, 26, and I remember being asked, like, so, when are we planning on having kids? And I was like, girl, like, not for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And my doctor was like, well, that's a problem. I remember he was just like, listen, if you're not planning to get pregnant in the next 6 months to a year, those eggs need to be in the freezer because you run a real risk. And that's another thing trying to confront at that age,
Yeah. Do I even want?
Yeah, and then it's kind of like, oh, and I need to try and release a single this month as well. Do you know what I mean? Like,
what way? Bit more of a lighthearted question.
No, please.
Do you choose your stage outfits? Is it like? Do you have like a specific style, or is it just like what you're feeling on the day?
Ooh, for me, I don't know. I just love what I love. I've always kind of styled myself, and I have such a love of like early 2000s, not early 2000s, like mid 2000s to late 2000s pop girl. So like the Katy Perry's, Lady Gaga's, you can kind of see such a revival of that now with like, Chapel Roan and that kind of dramatic vibe, I suppose. I love, and I think being a stage school kid at heart, I see what you wear on stage or what you wear in videos and stuff as like a costume.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't, I'm never going to be like on stage in a jean and t-shirt. Like it's just not me. Like, but at the same time, I've understood like, it's like a performative thing for me. Like in my day to day, I love just wearing a hoodie and leggings and do my thing. But when I'm pastiche, it's almost like a character of myself. It's like the version I see myself as. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of how like the persona came about. It was like it's who I see myself as. It's not necessarily me, but it's who I see myself as.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that you put so much thought into it because it is important. My favorite singer of all time is Lady Gaga.
Oh, same!
And when she came on the scene, I was like 13, 14.
Yeah.
And
changed my life.
Changed.
Yeah.
But the thought that went into every outfit, like I appreciate it so much.
Yeah.
And that is like, that's a pop star.
Yeah.
I don't want to see my pop stars in jeans and a t-shirt.
Yeah.
I want a fucking production on
no,
stage,
absolutely. Yeah. And that's why I know you're saying you like sexy Tyg on. I love Tyg. And again, like their whole vibe and look is just so phenomenal. Like
so spectacular.
Watching them the past couple of months has made me realize, okay, I need to up my game.
Yeah.
Spectacular
because he gives me like baby Elton John.
Absolutely.
Like that's what he gives me, like, 80s, like Studio 54, just that glam rock.
Yeah.
That really no one really does anymore.
And I think, they've really made me realize like how I need to kind of push the boundaries a bit more. And I think I have some shows coming up in November, and it's gonna be on top of my list to really push my look even further, because it's kind of funny that I'm getting my brows done right now because I usually bleach them on stage, but when I'm in my civvies, as I say, I like to have normal brows because my mom thinks I look very strange with bleached eyebrows.
I know, moms just like you nice and natural, don't they?
Yeah, but I mean, in fairness though, like when I have my eyebrows bleached and I wake up in the morning, you do get a bit of a jump scare. But when you have like a full face on, I think they look incredible.
Oh,
I love them.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, it was like that time Kim Kardashian, I don't know how much of a fan you are of hers, but she did bleach brows at the Met Gala, and people were like death throw.
Yeah, no, literally.
And I was like, I love a bleach brow. Like, it's for, you're not trying to be like freaking generic Barbie. Like, it's a look.
I think there's something so severe about it. And I think, when I do like bleach brows and stuff, I do all my own makeup, to be honest. When I'm like any of my shoots and everything, I don't my own makeup mainly because it saves money.
Yeah.
But I love doing like the big kind of, I'll do a huge dramatic wing that will kind of cut across where my brow would have been. And I feel like because I kind of have, like I have a pretty prominent like side profile, pretty long nose.
Yeah.
And by doing that, it just makes everything look like sharper and pointier and more severe. Like even when Lady Gaga came out, and like I remember I saw her side profile for the first time, I was like, oh my God, a girl who doesn't have a tiny little nose, a little button nose, you know, or, you know, I think she's had some work done since, but, you know, I was just like, whoa, because, you know, I got slagged for having a big nose when I was a kid, but that made me love my nose.
Yeah.
And it's made me see my nose as like a feature of my face that I get to then accentuate with makeup.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
What's one thing you would change about the world if you could?
Oh my God, that's such a loaded question.
I know we all have 500 million things to change.
Oh my God, there's so much. I mean, peace, I suppose, but if we're saying like, you know, a groundbreaking general one, I suppose, yeah, peace. I wish people weren't assholes. I wish war didn't exist and all that. But I think if we're keeping it a bit more lighthearted, I would.
Which you don't have to do.
No, I know, but I think, you know, for me and where I'm at right now, I wish that self-doubt didn't exist in the world. I think that is like the biggest. I think as an artist, or even like, you know, yourself, like working for yourself and creating your own business, it is the biggest issue I think we all run into, is that like self-doubt and not believing in yourself.
Yeah.
And it can cause like such decision paralysis, or like it can just, that fear can really stop you from even just trying.
Yeah.
So I think, I mean, for me personally, I wish self-doubt didn't exist.
I think the exact same, because, and you know what I find when I'm on my period? Oh,
don't talk to me.
Heightened.
Specifically,
so
like
much.
2 days before. I'm like, I'm a mess. I can't sing.
Yeah.
I'm a terrible singer. I can't write songs.
I know, it's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's.
And then like a week later, like I'll hear my song and I'm like, oh, that's actually pretty good. I heard my song on the radio the other day. I was in the car with my mom, and I was just having a really shit day, and it came on, and I was like, oh my God, this actually sounds really good on the radio. And I think like, I don't know, whatever song came on afterwards, I was just like, Mom, like you wouldn't be able to tell that was like just a little Irish girl who, you know, wrote that song in her bedroom and, you know, is doing this song. Like it sounds like it belongs in between these big pop songs on radio.
Yeah. I love that. And was your mom so proud?
Yeah. I mean, like she's in the car a lot, so she does hear them on the radio. Yeah. But just us both hearing them together, it was so nice. It was such an experience.
Who is your biggest inspiration?
It's so funny because it actually is Lady Gaga.
Is it?
It actually is, yeah. Because she was the one I still remember, like the first time I ever heard Just Dance on the radio. Mm-hmm. I was in the car with my dad. I think he collected me from school, and we were driving back to his house, and Just Dance came on the radio, and I remember he was just like to me, who is that? And I was like, I don't know. I remember he goes like, Jesus, she's going to be big. And he's still a huge fan of Lady Gaga as well. And it was just from that, I was like, who is this? And then you go, you know, I went on like the family desktop and like, it's like YouTube Lady Gaga. And then I saw the video for the first time. And you remember like the
lightning bolt.
Yeah, I remember there was a rumor going around that was actually a tattoo on her face. And it was just, wow. Like, yeah, that was such a prime era of pop music.
I know.
But like Lady Gaga and Katy Perry were coming out at the same time.
I know.
It's just, wow. Like,
what a time that was.
We did not deserve. I know. Yeah, it was great.
Do you remember, I still watch it at least once a week. Do you remember the Video Music Awards performance?
Oh, Paparazzi. No, don't stop. That was like my
perfection.
Musical awakening, gay awakening, every awakening. Like it was just, oh,
perfection.
It was so good.
It was so good.
Well, I reference, oh my God, yeah. And any artist I see who references that performance, or any person, I'm like, we're friends. Like, yeah, I get you. Yeah, we're fine. It's so, yeah, that's like the type of stuff I would kill to be able to put on. But again, that shit takes budget. But at the same time, you shouldn't let budget stop you, because most of the things I've done and I've made on pennies.
Yeah.
But it's about kind of how you go about it. And I honestly think having a smaller budget pushes your creativity. It pushes you to do more with less. And I think you end up getting an even cooler product in the end.
Yeah, well, I loved your video where you're on the chair and you would not know you're on the chair with just good lighting and you're just spinning around.
Oh, that one. Yeah. That's so funny. Yeah.
That is so good.
Thank you.
So good.
Yeah, the dizzy one, that was very funny.
I love it. Where is your favourite place to write music?
The shower.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
that's not an answer I ever would have predicted.
Yeah, I'm really not I'm not a like sit down at the piano and like, ooh, I'm feeling this way, I'm gonna write it. Doesn't happen for me like that. For me, it's like I could be I try out my ideas in the shower and then I'm like, oh crap, that was good, and I'll grab my phone and I'll record it. But for me, it's a lot of the time I will hear a phrase or read something or a sentence or someone will say something and I'm like, oh, that was interesting, and I'll put it down in my notes. And usually how I write is I kind of like freestyle. So like I'll be in my kitchen and I'll just kind of like start singing and I'll just kind of freestyle, I don't know, lyrics and melody at the same time. And then I'm like, oh, that was kind of good. And then I'll record like on my phone for like 10 minutes and then I'll go back through it and be like, okay, this is good, this is good. And even if I only get like an opening line out of that, I'll then take that and usually just sit somewhere and write. Like, it doesn't really matter where, my bedroom, on a bus, at a bus stop. And yeah, and then the actual written music for me comes after. So it's kind of lyrics and melody come together as the jumping off point. And then afterwards, I'll go to the piano and go, okay, crap, like what chords are this? Or I'll just like ring up one of my producers and be like, hi, so I have this idea. No idea of the key, no idea of the BPM. Don't know how it's meant to sound, but
they're probably so used to how you work though.
Yeah. Or kind of recently I've tried like working with a producer and I'll give them kind of some references of tracks that I'm enjoying and like, okay, it'd be cool to make something like this, and then we'll make a track and then I'll just take the track and go away and write a song over the track, kind of like a top line, and do it that way. But for me, I feel like my best lyrics come when I'm just me on my notes app on a bus, to be honest.
Who is your dream artist to collab with?
Oh my god, it's getting so boring now, but Lady Gaga.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. That would be mine.
So boring,
as
but
well.
It is like, Jesus.
You imagine writing a song with her?
No, I've had dreams of like what I would do if I saw her in person.
Have you gone to see her live?
Yes. So I went to see the Art Pop Ball. Holy shit, it was insane. And I mean, she never got praised for that. She got panned for that album when it came out.
I know.
10 years later, people were like, actually, this is a masterpiece. I was like, it is a pop masterpiece. People just didn't get it at the time. It was like a hyper pop. It was so different, and she really pushed the boundaries with it. But yeah, or even like her jazz album, like, yeah, whoa, it would be
the video where she walked Tony Bennett off the stage.
No,
for the
stop.
Last time.
No, don't talk to me.
Oh,
but like, she's so dramatic. Like, she's so extra. Like, remember when she was, I think she was with like Liza Minnelli at a show or something, and like Liza's just like chilling, doing an award or something, like giving out an award, and Lady Gaga holds her and she's like, don't worry, I got you. Like, she's just so extra. I love it though.
So to finish off, what's a goal you're working on right now? What can we expect from Pastiche? What can you tell us about?
Well, I'm gonna drop one more single this year. So I've released my plan this year was release a trilogy of songs. So they're not an EP, they're an album, but it's like a trilogy. And the end of the trilogy is going to come in October, which is very exciting.
I love it. Will that be before or after your next set of gigs?
Before. I'm going to be gigging in November, which is exciting. So I'm going to be dropping the last of the trilogy, which I think is just such a cool way to put it, in October. And then I'm hoping to release an EP next year.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. That is so exciting.
Yeah.
Will we be able to go to your gigs? I presume there'll be an audience there.
I hope so. Yeah. Well, where are you gigging? So I'm going to have a headline show next year at some point with the EP for sure. But I'm supporting Alice Glass in November.
That's so cool.
I'm so excited. And Aiko as well in November. So I have 2 sports lots in November. And I have a couple of things that are not announced yet, but keep an eye on my page. But for definite, I'll be opening for 2 incredible artists in November.
I love it. Pastiche, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
I've enjoyed talking to you so much.
I can't see my breath.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.